Hello, this is Dawn. I work for support services at Health Solutions, and I love my plants, my flowers. So I'm going to show you today the succulents. I did do a succulent, like how to plant succulents and stuff, a while back. Now I kind of want to show you, so these I have just planted. I do want to show you that in these root balls, I was kind of happy to find out, and I don't know if you can actually see it, but there's actually sand in the root ball, which is awesome because you need sand in your dirt potting soil to help with the water draining, because you don't want it to sit on the plant. It actually is supposed to go in the soil and kind of down below so that it doesn't soak in water. That is the main reason that succulents do not survive, is because people overwater them. So you want to make sure that you have the correct type of soil. Soil is huge with succulents because you have to have something that's going to drain away from the roots and not sit on the roots. So I created this one to kind of show you guys a little bit of how to do it, because you can see the bottom. So the bottom, I don't know if you can see it too well actually, there's shells in the bottom. You can put rocks. I use shells because I love the sea, so that's my favorite thing to put underneath, because you can get shells. I got this at a garage sale for like 50 cents. I think this one was like 10 cents at a garage sale. You can use sand. This is sand that I got from maybe Hobby Lobby, I'm not sure. There's this type of sand, which I did use in this. That's what you're seeing on this side right here is the sand. You can kind of see the roots on this one. But so this is this regular sand that you can get at hobby stores as well. You can get them at Walmart. This one, I kind of tore it a little bit. This one is the Blue Maroon, and it's just decorative sand. Now in this one, I also used this decorative sand. It's a light blue sparkle sand because I like to sparkle and I love the sea, so I kind of wanted to make it look like the ocean a little bit. So when you are planting these, you want to make sure that you have adequate drainage for your plants. If you're putting it in something like this glass one, you want to make sure that you have, like I said, I have the shells underneath, and I'm just using shells that I bought at a probably at Hobby Lobby. I don't know, I've had them forever. So you want to make sure you put those in the bottom. You could even use, like, this is from the hobby store as well. It's just like colored glass rocks, kind of. These are rocks that I got from my front yard. You can use those. Just make sure that no one has sprayed for weeds if you're going to use rocks out of your garden or out of your yard. So like I said, this one here, I did make sure that there's shells on the bottom, then there's sand, and then there's this. This is my favorite to use, is the, it doesn't even have to be Miracle Grow, it just needs to be the cactus palm, at least the cactus palm is a succulent as well. So you just need to make sure that you use the succulent potting soil. You can also, if you can't get to a lawn and garden store where you can get the potting mix, you can also use this. I got this at like one of the dollar stores. I think it was like $3. So you can get this, but if you get this, make sure that you get one with vermiculite in it. Vermiculite will show up in somewhere, there it is. Vermiculite will show up on the ingredients. Make sure you look for that, because that helps with the drainage, or the draining of the soil as well. You can plant succulents in just about anything you want to. You could even plant succulents in this little bowl if you wanted to. Just make sure on the bottom would be rocks, then you put sand, then you put the potting soil, whichever one you want to use. Now, this is the potting soil that's Miracle Grow. The Miracle-Gro potting soil, you really don't have to add anything to it. You could actually, as long as you had a little bit of drainage, you could actually use just this potting soil and you really wouldn't need anything else in it. This little pig, I just put this in here. Now there's not quite enough soil in there, so I'm going to show you how I do it. I don't pat the soil. I don't like pack the soil because then it's going to be too dense and the water's not going to drain from it. So I just use a spoon and just kind of put it in there. I'm going to fill this one all the way, not quite all the way to the top, because then when you water it, the water will run over and you don't want that because then it makes a mess. So I'm just going to show you a little bit. So I just put a little bit of that on top. Now, if you want to, you can actually add just as something to look pretty, decoration. You can add sand on the top of it. You could add, like me, I'm a shell freak, so you could actually put these shells on the top. For this one, I don't think I'm gonna put anything on it because I think the little piggy is just cute. So I wanted to show you, you can, and this pig pot, I think I got for like $1 at one of the dollar stores somewhere. This pot is absolutely adorable. Now on this, I want to show you, if you look at these right here, they are actually sunburned. So this plant has been in the sun too long and it's sunburned, or they moved it, like when in shipping, it probably was in a box or in a crate, whatever, and then they brought it out and put it directly in the sun and let it sit there. Well, doing that is just like us. If you're not in the sun all the time, you sunburn easy. So this plant is sunburned. All you need to do is take it out of the sun. Make sure that you don't overwater it, because overwatering is the #1 killer for these plants. Do not remove the leaves. They will fall off after new ones grow in. So I'm not gonna touch these. This one actually is almost off because there's a baby right behind it. So don't remove the dead. I think it kind of looks pretty at the moment because there's a little bit of color in it, but just make sure you don't remove the leaves that are sunburned. So here's another type of container you can put them in. This one has a small drain hole right here at the bottom. That is what they say you really should use for succulents because they do need that drainage. However, it makes a mess. So I do have this one. However, there is this little plate underneath it. So when I water it, the water doesn't go all over my floor. When you're watering, you want to water during the summer. You want to water about once a week. Just make sure when you water that your soil is not still damp. Put your finger in probably about to the end of your nail so that your finger, so about to right here. Put it in the soil just a little ways, and if it's not wet, then it needs water. Only do this once a week in the summer. Unless it's in full sun, then just keep an eye on it and you'll kind of get to know when you need to water it when the soil's dry. In the winter, you want to do once a month, but don't do it unless the soil is dry because it will kill the plants. I actually just planted these. There's a little bit of damage to these plants from the move from wherever they bought it from. So this one has a little bit of damage right here, which is sun damage. And then this one right here has a little bit of sun damage as well. Now this one is not sunburned, it's just the color of the plant. You'll see that it's just the color of the plant. But they have a little bit of damage just from the move from the plant to the store. So what I want to do is water this one because I just planted it and it's dry. So I have these little, they're just little glass pieces in here because you don't want to water the plants directly. Never pour it over the top of a succulent. They don't like that. So just pour it on the like the little glass or whatever. You can use glass, you can use, I had a rock somewhere. You can even put one of these in there and just put that in there, and that's where you're gonna wanna dump the water. And notice I'm using a small glass. You can use a small glass, you can use, you can even use like this little squirt. This is sand, but it's like a little squirt bottle. After, I might actually use this as a waterer because it's just you just get a small little bit out at a time. You just don't want to like really squirt it in and make holes in the dirt. And make sure, once again, you do not water the actual succulent. They don't like that. If you are noticing that the dirt is really, really moist and the plant's just not looking good, you probably need to take it out of the dirt or out of the soil and put new soil in because it's been overwatered. You want to get that water away from the plant so that it doesn't drown it, basically. When I first started doing these, I didn't know you could drown a plant, but you really can. So the last one I have, this is actually from I have a huge jade tree that I cannot get out here because it probably weighs about 100 pounds. I can't just get it out here. This is babies from my jade tree. Jade trees are very hard to get started. Once you get them started, they're pretty good as long as you keep them in a window that has south-facing sun. A lot of succulents like south-facing sun. So if you have a window that faces south, that's where you're going to want to put your succulents. However, I have succulents all over my house. I have a lot of natural light that comes in, so they really like it. This right here is called a mother-in-law's tongue. This I've had for probably 15 years. About once every, 18 months to 2 years, I usually have to thin it out because it gets so thick that it just overgrows this pot, and it's a big pot. So I do even that out once in a while so that I make sure that it's getting everything it needs. So main things with the succulents, make sure you have adequate, fast draining soil, rocks, sand, whatever you need to make sure it drains fast. Number 2, do not overwater it. Once a week in the summer, once a month in the winter, if it needs it. Keep them in the sun. They like up to 5 hours of sun a day. These really aren't ones that you want to plant outside. The jade tree will not survive outside. The one thing, if you want succulents to survive outside, you want hens and chicks. Hens and chicks will grow like weeds once you get them planted outside. They may go dormant in the summer, they may go dormant in the winter, but trust me, they will go nuts and take over your yard if you don't watch. I love these. I'm gonna actually plant one of these this summer probably because we moved into this house and I don't have any in this house. So I've always had hens and chicks in every house I've lived in. So I'm gonna buy some bigger ones for outside. These, however, I'm putting in these to show you. So if you want succulent plants and don't have any, my suggestion is to go to Walmart and buy these little things. It's $2 for this little jade tree that I just dropped. So, and they have sand in the soil. They're very well drained. They're very healthy. I mean, this one doesn't even really have a lot of damage to it. There's no sun damage. It's really nice. Succulents are actually they're really fun, cute little plants. And they're actually really good plants as long as you know how to water them and how to keep them in the sun. You can even in the summer, when you're home, put them outside for a little bit in the sun and they'll be happy. Bring them back in the house, make sure their soil's not dry, and they'll live. They're amazing plants. I love succulents. If you have any questions for me, please don't hesitate to email me. My Health Solutions email is Dawn, D-A-W-N, B as in boy, at health.solutions. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask and I will try and get answers for you. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I want to show you, next month I'm doing a video on making something like that. I don't think it's gonna be quite that big. I have that one, and then I have this one. So join me in June to make little pot people. Thank you, and you guys have a good evening.